probably the first real significant conversation you and I had. We had a gathering of leaders up in the mountains, and you were getting out of your car and coming in to talk about prayer and to kind of lead a time in prayer. But I found out you had a somewhat of a military background yourself. Do you want to just share a little bit about that? Not somewhat. You had
Well,
a
I
military background. Yeah.
yeah, I just understand. So growing up a military brat, which I never understand that term because we are far from spoiled. We are very, very sacrificial as a military family. You give up a lot of things, and but you're serving.
Yeah.
And so brat to me is born ready, alert, and training up. And
Yeah.
so I felt that way my whole life. And from the time I was very little, wanted to fly SR-71s. I wanted to serve God and country and fight the enemy. And I made every decision growing up in my life all the way through high school to try to get to fly SR-71s and serve God and country. And I was on that track, learned to fly, all of these things. And then we found out I was night blind. And in a moment's time, 15 years of work came to a crashing halt. And just since then, making a very long story short, it's just realized that God has me flying in the heavenlies, outside the atmosphere, as the 71s did, in prayer,
Yeah.
fighting for this country and kingdom, and fighting the real enemy. So I am grateful for that. But deep military background with my husband and my father.
I love it because, as you know, I mean, I wasn't in the military. I do come from a military family. My dad was a sergeant major, last POW released from the Korean War. I have three uncles that were in the military. It's just kind of I love it. The best compliment I ever got was from one of my buddies in Special Forces that started volunteering at Dare to Share. And he goes, "You know what I like about Dare to Share?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You run like a military op." I'm like, "Yeah, oh yeah." I was all pumped up. But
That's right.
we talked about, General Norman Schwarzkopf in the Gulf War, that before they sent in a ground troop, they had 100,000 bombing missions. They dropped 88,500 tons all over, every target in Iraq, took out their eyes and ears. And when the ground troops came in, the Iraqi soldiers were surrendering to CNN troops. And so, from that square one, when I realized
that's what prayer does.
That's what prayer does. And
that's we go in and we clear the ground and we see where the enemy is and we start taking them out. Prayer comes in and it clears the path for us to go running in.
I don't know if you remember, but I nicknamed you at that moment. I said, "Okay, you're now the captain of our prayer force. You're the leader of that." And thank you for helping infuse that prayer DNA deeper into me, into Debbie Brasina, our president, into the whole ministry, and with other ministries as well. But we are very grateful for that.